Netflix's critically acclaimed anthology series Love, Death, and Robots has returned with its fourth volume, continuing to push boundaries with its unique blend of animation styles, provocative narratives, and mind-bending concepts. The season opener, Flesh Concert, immediately establishes itself as one of the most disturbing entries in the series' history, using the seemingly innocuous setting of a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert to explore themes of technological manipulation, mass hysteria, and the terrifying potential of sonic warfare. Unlike previous standalone episodes, keen viewers will notice subtle connections to Season 3's In Vaulted Halls Entombed, suggesting this universe may be more interconnected than previously believed. The episode opens with pulsating energy as we're thrust into what appears to be a standard Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, complete with an enthusiastic crowd and the band launching into their hit song Can't Stop. Director Alberto Mielgo, who previously won an Emmy for his work on Hibaro in Volume 3, uses hyperrealistic animation that blurs the line between CGI and reality, making the concert setting feel vibrant and authentic. The camera weaves through the crowd, capturing the electric atmosphere as fans cheer and scream with unbridled excitement. This mundane opening deliberately lulls viewers into a false sense of security, making the horror that follows all the more jarring. As the band performs, subtle visual clues hint that something isn't quite right. The animation incorporates almost imperceptible glitches in the crowd, faces that momentarily distort, movements that appear slightly mechanical, and lighting that shifts in unnatural ways. These subtle cues are easy to miss on first viewing, but become significantly more meaningful when the episode's true nature is revealed. The sound design during these early concert scenes is particularly noteworthy, with the mixing creating an uncomfortably immersive experience where certain frequencies seem designed to create a sense of unease in the viewer. About halfway through the performance, an electronic chirp interrupts the concert, barely noticeable at first, but gradually increasing in intensity. The audience appears unbothered, their enthusiasm only growing as the song continues, but the camera occasionally focuses on individuals whose expressions flicker between ecstasy and brief moments of confusion or pain. These fleeting reactions serve as the first concrete indication that something sinister is unfolding beneath the surface of this seemingly normal concert experience. The episode's perspective suddenly shifts to reveal that what we've been watching isn't actually a traditional concert at all, but a sophisticated simulation being conducted by a covert military organization. Scientists in sterile white labs monitor banks of screens displaying the brain activity of hundreds of test subjects who believe they're attending a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. The electronic chirps are revealed to be carefully calibrated sonic pulses, designed to alter brain chemistry and influence behavior. This jarring shift in perspective transforms what began as a music-focused narrative into a chilling commentary on mind control and technological exploitation. The lead scientist, Dr. Nakamura, voiced by Ming-Na Wan, explains to military officials that they've successfully created the ultimate crowd control technology, sound waves that can trigger specific emotional and physiological responses in large groups. Music is already the perfect delivery system, she explains. People voluntarily expose themselves to it, lower their defenses, and allow it to affect their emotions. We're simply enhancing that natural response. The casual way she discusses manipulating human consciousness is perhaps more disturbing than any visual horror the episode could present. As the experiment continues, we witness the gradual escalation of the technology's effects. Through a series of clinical monitoring screens, we see the concertgoers' vital signs becoming increasingly erratic as the enhanced version of Can't Stop plays on. What began as typical concert behavior, dancing, singing along, crowd surfing, evolves into something more primal and disturbing. The animation becomes increasingly surreal, with the concert venue transforming into something more resembling a religious ritual as audience members begin moving in unsettling synchronization. The military observers appear pleased with the results, with one general remarking, "Imagine deploying this in conflict zones. Instant pacification without a single bullet fired." However, Dr. Nakamura's expression betrays growing concern as the subject's neural readings begin spiking into dangerous territory. "We're exceeding safe parameters," she warns, but her military counterparts insist the experiment continue. Their callous disregard for the test subject's safety creates palpable tension, setting up the horrific climax to come. In a brilliant storytelling move, The perspective shifts back to the concert experience itself, but now viewers see it through enlightened eyes. What initially appeared to be enthusiastic concert behavior is revealed as something far more disturbing. The audience members are no longer in control of their actions. The animation becomes increasingly grotesque as people begin to physically transform, their bodies contorting and merging together in impossible ways. The music itself seems to take on physical properties, visible as rippling waves that penetrate bodies and reshape them from within. The connection to Season 3's In Vaulted Halls Entombed becomes apparent when one of the military observers references the entity discovered in Afghanistan as the source of the sound technology. Fans will recognize this as a direct reference to the Lovecraftian godlike being discovered by soldiers in that earlier episode. This revelation adds layers of cosmic horror to what was already a disturbing technological nightmare, suggesting that the military has somehow harnessed the psychic powers of that entity for their sound experiments. As the experiment spirals out of control, the barriers between the simulation and reality begin to collapse. The test subjects, no longer perceiving themselves at a concert but now aware of their captivity in the laboratory, begin to exhibit impossible abilities, moving in unison, breaking through physical restraints, and attacking the scientists monitoring them. The animation here is particularly disturbing, with human bodies moving like liquid, flowing together into a collective mass of flesh reminiscent of films like Akira or The Thing. Dr. Nakamura attempts to shut down the experiment, but it's too late. The entity's influence has spread beyond the test subjects to affect the researchers themselves. In a horrific sequence, we watch as scientists remove their headsets and begin to exhibit the same behaviors as their test subjects, suggesting that the entity has somehow transmitted itself through the monitoring equipment. The military personnel attempt to contain the situation with lethal force, but their weapons prove ineffective against what has essentially become a hive mind of human bodies controlled by an ancient cosmic entity. The episode reaches its climax as the collective mass of former concertgoers and researchers bursts out of the facility, flowing like a river of flesh into the outside world. The final shots show news reports of similar outbreaks, occurring at actual concerts around the world, implying that the entity has found a way to transmit itself through actual music. A brief scene shows a teenager listening to Can't Stop on headphones, their eyes beginning to glaze over as the same electronic chirp we heard earlier emerges from their speakers, suggesting the contagion has gone global. The ending sequence is deliberately ambiguous, leaving viewers to contemplate the full implications of what they've witnessed. Has humanity inadvertently unleashed an ancient entity capable of controlling minds through music? Is this the beginning of an apocalyptic event, or simply one contained incident? The lack of clear resolution is typical of Love, Death and Robots' approach to storytelling, prioritizing thought-provoking concepts over neat narrative closure. What makes Flesh Concert particularly effective is how it transforms something as universal and typically joyful as a music concert into a vehicle for horror. The episode plays on fears of mind control, loss of bodily autonomy, and the potential for technology to be weaponized against civilian populations. By setting these horrors against the backdrop of a beloved band performing one of their most recognizable hits, the episode creates a disturbing juxtaposition that lingers long after viewing. The animation deserves special praise for its ability to transition from hyperrealism to surreal body horror. The concert scenes initially look almost indistinguishable from live-action footage, making the gradual introduction of impossible physical transformations all the more unsettling. The sound design works in perfect harmony with the visuals, using the actual Red Hot Chili Peppers track as both narrative element and psychological tool. Viewers may find themselves wary of the actual song after experiencing how it's used in this context. Thematically, Flesh Concert explores several concepts central to the Love, Death and Robots series. The death element is obvious in the mass casualties, while the robot aspect comes through in the technological means of control and the mechanical hive mind behavior of the affected humans. The love component is present in the perversion of the communal concert experience, taking something built on shared appreciation and transforming it into something monstrous. The episode also continues the anthology's examination of military exploitation of unknown technologies, a theme previously explored in episodes like Shapeshifters and In Vaulted Halls Entombed. The callous attitude of the military officials toward both the test subjects and the unfathomable power they're attempting to harness serves as a pointed critique of how scientific discovery is often corrupted by military application, regardless of the potential consequences. For longtime fans of the series, the connection to In Vaulted Hall's Entombed is particularly rewarding, suggesting that at least some episodes may share a common universe. This revelation opens up intriguing possibilities for future installments. Might we see other episodes that continue this particular narrative thread? The idea that a Lovecraftian entity discovered in a cave in Afghanistan could eventually lead to a global mind control event through popular music creates a fascinating story arc that spans multiple episodes while still allowing each to stand on its own. Flesh Concert stands as a perfect opening to Volume 4, demonstrating that even after 3 previous volumes, Love, Death, and Robots can still find new ways to shock, disturb, and provoke thought. By transforming the familiar experience of a rock concert into a vehicle for cosmic horror, the episode exemplifies what makes the anthology so special: its ability to find the extraordinary and terrifying lurking just beneath the surface of ordinary human experiences. As the series continues to push boundaries in both animation technique and narrative daring, Flesh Concert will likely be remembered as one of its most effectively disturbing entries, guaranteed to make viewers think twice before putting on their headphones.